All right, welcome everybody. It's January 19th. This is Genesis Solutions presents Clayton Nolte. For those that don't know, Genesis Solutions is a television group that is, as the name implies, we seek out and provide solutions for whatever case may be. In this case, it is structured water. Yeah, and it is that simple. So for those just joining, we're going to do a Q&A at the end. We're going to allow Clayton to do his presentation. And we really want to set the intention of everyone focusing on the education and remembering of these things. That's the primary focus. And it's just a bonus that he has developed the technology to greatly assist as the tool that it is in this transition restoration. But yes, primarily the focus is on raising everyone's awareness that views this and or that is present and where we can go from here with that information and what is the practical usage of that information. Before we get going, I wanted to share it's pretty much evidence of these things starting to come into alignment. I've been looking for a water solution for a long time. And so do the people I know, people I work with, people with projects, all these different things. And I didn't find it until I stopped looking. I went to a water meeting, which in terms of energies, that would be what we would consider right action or taking action as is in alignment with how we see things going. Apologies there to add some people. So I went to this water meeting and there was Clayton, all bells and whistles. So I wrote his name down before, and then for some reason my Zoom went kaput, and I just saw it for what it was. I found the solution I was looking for through right action when I wasn't looking for it. And I think a lot of people will resonate with it's time for these things to come forward. And people can take what they want from that, but for me, that's absolute proof, 100%. And I'm sure a lot of people have it, a lot of examples for that. But that's just as it pertains to this situation. Now, to start, I would like to declare the intention of gratitude. The fact that we're able to be here today, those that are viewing are able to view it, that we're coming together in resonance in knowing that we are in transition, things are changing, we're recognizing this, and we are grateful for the opportunity. And so it is. Now, let's get this party started. Clayton, why
Yes.
structured water?
I'm here.
Yeah, you're good. Let's go into what led you to developing this.
How long do you have?
Depends
Well,
how in detail you want to go. Let's just give them the short and skinny and give them the goods, and they can discern what they please.
what started me with this was structured water, the concept, and the experience of it is I was working in a research facility, and and I was testing some of the developments that I'd made, and I was prompted to work near where there was a waterfall. And what I discovered is water appeared where it should not. And that prompted me to collect that water, take it with me back into a laboratory setting, and determine what made it different for water. And that's what started me down the journey of what is structured water.
So like the vortexing of the waterfall?
Yeah, waterfall. So there were areas of the water coming down a waterfall that that appeared where it should not have appeared. And so the term is structured water is multidimensional. You, being a human being, all living things, the water within is structured. It has to be structured in order for the liquid within your body to enter into the cellular level. Your cells have no doorways, no openings. The access is in the tension of the liquid, viscosity. And the viscosity has to be at a certain lower rate in order to enter through the cell wall. That rate implies structuring. The heart, your heart within your body pumps blood around and around and around and through the heart and actually structures your blood. So everything it comes in contact with is structured. And you have the ability, you have many abilities that you're not really aware of. But I'm going to tell you, the liquid within you is structured, and as it is, you have the ability to be multidimensional. So, what is, if you want to know what that means, you know what dimensions are. So anyway, what this does is when I went into the lab setting, went through all the parameters, all the characteristics, looked at all the materials that are within the water, and all of this led me to creating a product, or let's say a device that I could carry with me no matter where I was in the world, that it would have this quality of water, because I knew it was exactly what everybody needs. And this is what I developed, was a structured water technology that is easily transportable by anyone, and that they can carry it with them worldwide and make the water they are utilizing, whether it's brushing their teeth, drinking, bathing, or swimming, to be healthy, and to bring them not only health but well-being throughout their life.
How does that counteract Montezuma's revenge?
Well, if you brush your teeth with that water, you get Montezuma's revenge. If you you can structure it simply by structuring a glass of water, or you can put this water in a spray bottle and spray your toothbrush, however you choose to do it. But this water will counteract Montezuma's revenge. I have people that travel to Mexico regularly. They used to carry with them basically a trailer loaded with water, so that they could spend a week there. Now they just carry a structured water unit, because all the water that they use and consume, they structure, and they no longer need to be concerned about the quality of the water. It's a huge savings and a huge relief to be, no matter where you are in the world, that the
Right.
you're drinking and you're bathing in and brushing your teeth in is in your best interest.
Now, to clarify on that for everyone, what he's saying is structured water removes the concern,
Yes,
like for your tap water.
yes,
If your water is structured, it is safe to drink,
yes.
which means it's also safe for all your plants, your garden. Um, do we want to go into the different types of water that you've come across and how structured water is inherently different?
Well, all the water types
Mhm.
go into bottled water. There's probably 40 different bottles of water out there,
Okay. Yeah.
and the majority of them are taken from the tap water, and maybe reverse osmosis or distillation
Mhm.
in order to remove the physical, or just filtered and put into a bottle with a label on it and a lot of claims. Uh, those claims aren't necessarily their claims. They aren't necessarily truth. With structured water, it's about truth.
Mhm.
If the water were not what I say it is, or let's say the truth, uh, we would have a lot of conditions occurring around this technology that
Mhm.
would not allow it to be at all.
Right.
So the water passing through any one of these devices is in truth. It is, and an example, I have farmers that say, "What will your tube do for me?" I
Mhm.
say, it will make the, I say, you have turkeys. They say turkeys, chickens, hogs, cattle. I said, every animal that drinks this water will not ever contract any toxins, any hydrocarbons, bacteria, virus, molds, or pathogens. It's against the law. And they,
Hold on right there. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with that. And we know whose law we're talking about here. Now, if you want to go a little bit more into detail, because that point right there with like the turkeys you were talking about,
right,
everyone here is going to remember when that just happened. So
right.
if you want to describe that to them,
Yes, I can.
okay.
But I wanted to finish this. I would say it's against the law, and they would say whose law,
Mhm.
and I would say God's law. I never had to say anything past that point because they got it. Anyway, the turkey, I was working with an individual in South Dakota who he called me back in when we first met back in March of 2023, and he said the prior 2 years their farm was had been had bird flu, and they had to destroy their turkeys for 2 years at a cost of $15 million. I said, I can provide you with a product that will guarantee you never contract bird flu. And so we started with the technology that I had previously created with my previous company, which was Natural Action Technologies. And I also had product that I had made as a prototype to my new technology, which is structured water created by Clayton. So, so he bought everything I had, and they had six turkey barns, and they put I had my old technology, past technology with plastic units they put them in the barns. And they also put the plastic units into the air supply for the barns.
Mm.
And because the bird flu is 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 what they would consider an airborne disease,
Right.
an airborne virus. So they protected it from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And back in 2020, 22 and 21 is when they had bird flu. The investigators came in, took blood sample, and diagnosed both years the birds to have bird flu. And they were ordered to eliminate them all, bury them, burn them, whatever they could do to eliminate them. In 2023, they came in and they were diagnosed bird flu free. And so in November of 2023, I had developed my new product, stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
And they put, and I was explained to them the qualities, the differences, and the energy of those qualities. So they installed structured water stainless steel units, house units, in all 6 barns. And initially they left the plastic units as the air supply for the barns.
Mm-hmm.
But as conditions started increasing, I recommended that they go to the stainless steel, and they did. So they had stainless steel units, house units on the main water line for each barn, and they also had it for the air.
Mm-hmm.
We went through 2024 successfully. But they did the virus notifications of the bird flu virus was increasing significantly. I recommended to them that they increase the energy for the barns, for the water supply, and they chose not to, basically because it was working. And it's a tendency of farmers to believe that if it's working, don't mess with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
On December 4th, 2024, I got a call that they had bird flu, and they were ordered to destroy all their birds. And they did. So the remedy basically is to increase the energy. So they've decided to take the structured water units from the air and put them in line with the structured water units that are already there for the water. So you'd have 2 house units in series. And then they're going to use a ultra high energy units for the air.
Right.
And that's the remedy that we have come to. I would like them to increase the energy some more, but they weren't ready to do that yet. But
Right.
the solution that they've chosen. They said if the intensity of the bird flu goes up anymore, however, you may have to look at this again. And they said, okay, but not now. So that's where we are.
Now, is
The other big thing I wanted to say, and when they came in 24, December of, the men that came in were wearing hazmat suits and respirators. Why? Because they had a case of a man with bird flu in Illinois. And by the way, he just transitioned, he passed. He died of bird flu. And they have some cases in California, I believe. But I don't consider it an issue for humans or anyone as long as you're keeping your um, immunity in place, high immunity. And high immunity to me is having the liquid that you're drinking and bathing in structured.
Mhm.
You engage in structured water, your immune system goes maximum. And your immune system will guarantee you no disease, airborne or in the water.
Right. By law.
That's by law. Structured water is God's water. You can see it in Lords of France, Hunza water in Pakistan, and there's still another half dozen or a dozen places in the world that are called venerated water sources.
Mm-hmm.
The water is structured coming out of the ground. There used to be another 50 or so, but they got kind of contaminated by humans building too close to the water source.
Right. Absolutely. What would well, before I go to that, what is the, I guess the, but we know these things are done by frequencies, and what is the actually the application and how you were able to integrate that into the product to create the structured water, and how big is the range on it?
Yes, my first product, the maximum range, my first product was 1,000 feet, and that's a measurement of biophoton energy measurement. It's not something you see science really talking about because it's energy. It's talking about measuring energy. The most science is in the physical science, chemistry. We're talking about a science that is primarily physics. Science, it is about energy. And so the biophoton energy of the first units that I made back in over 20 years ago was 1,000 feet. That was a field effect of the biophoton energy. I have video on my website, which you're looking at. If you go to research, there's videos of a strawberry field in California.
Which one is that under?
I think it's under, it should be videos. It should be, there's a strawberry field video. There's 4 of them, and they were, but it should be under research, I believe.
I have to move my
Testimonies could be.
my meeting thing is blocking stuff, so I have to move things around here.
Anyway, this the strawberries based back in when they called and said they had an area in their field that they could not sell the strawberries because the Brix level was too low. It was like 4.5. Brix is a measurement that's taken with a refractometer to know the food value. Mm-hmm. Most stores and people selling to stores use Brix as a indicator of food value.
And is that the actual nutrient I guess testing or parameters that people refer to?
Yeah, it's a refractometer. It's a device that you squeeze some juice from the leaf, or say if you're doing grapes, and as the grapes are maturing, not the grapes themselves, but just the plant, you can take the Brix of the plant and see how it's moving from just coming up and maturing and then actually putting on fruit, and then you can check the fruit. When the fruit gets to be a certain value, that's when you want to make wine, or you want to make it into whatever else you're going to make it into. But it is a indication of the food value. It's the sugars within the plant or within the fruit that determines a value. And if you go online and look at that, and you look at the bricks readings, and the refractometer readings, there is the sugar value of all fruit and vegetables. When the sugar value reaches good or average, I believe it's good, no predator can come to that fruit or vegetable because the sugars are too high. When the sugars are high, if a predator bites into a high sugar value, their saliva and the sugars turn to alcohol and kill them. So predators don't come.
So say you had a tomato plant, and where I live, we get those big green worms, which are a pest. At that point, with what you're saying, you're running structured water with that tomato plant. They instinctively would know to stay away from that plant and the surrounding plants, wouldn't they?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's its own natural pesticide just by its own existence
Absolutely.
of structured water. That,
Actually, strawberries,
yep.
They watered them one time with structured water in the area that was that they couldn't sell. In 48 hours, the bricks was 8.5, and they could sell them. The bricks kept on going up. For the field, it went up to 16, 18. And the bricks meters at that time, the highest they could go was 32. So after that time, the companies that make the refractometer now have refractometers that go up over 100, 120, somewhere around there. And there are places in the world that are growing food and or grapes that have a bricks reading of near 100.
Wow. And that's something we can all look up online.
Yeah, you should be able to find it online. If you can just go in to ask what is the maximum bricks reading for say grapes or I don't know, you could even do tomatoes, but there are charts or used to be on the internet that would tell you what the average, what the poor, medium, average, good levels are of all fruits and vegetables. Because again, it's an essential measurement device for selling your product to a store.
Yeah, that's an absolute necessity. I've heard about it a lot. I just didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah,
this is how it's tested. Those kind
I think you can buy a cheap bricks or refractometer through Amazon for maybe $35, $40. And if you want them that you can use on the computer and keep a record, they're probably 125 to 225.
So a refractometer, that's something people can look up and research, and
yes,
that's something they can use themselves.
Yes, it's a simple device. It's not electronic. There's no batteries. I don't think there's a battery. I don't think there's a battery in it. No. No, there's not a battery in it. There's no battery. So it has a lens that you open up, and you get like a garlic press that you can put fruit in, a piece of fruit, and you squeeze it, and you squeeze a little bit of the juice on a lens. You close the lens, and it's like a telescope. You pick it up and you look through it, and it has a graph on the end, or that you look through, and the juices reflect the sugar value.
Mhm.
And on the far end is a numbered system, and it goes up to they used to go up to 32. So it indicates a number of that the sugar value is at.
Right. So that's something people can do on the spot.
Yep, you can even do it with water. Good water shows up different than tap water or groundwater. So
Mhm. Absolutely. Um, so what is the difference between, say, a distilled water, a hydrogen water, and structured? Because we hear a lot, especially in the last couple of years, about hydrogen and distilled, but I don't think most people realize the difference.
what difference between which one? Distilled water, hydrogen
This
water?
distilled hydrogen and structured.
Well, distilled water is water that is boiled in a steamer, and the steam goes out, and it leaves all the physical matter that's in the water in a tank,
Mhm.
and the water goes out as steam, and then it goes through a copper tube or a tube that basically lets it reconstitute back into water. So that's distilled water.
Mhm.
And and all alcohol that is distilled is the same way, though they have, in line with the water going back to turn into water itself, or the steam going back, they put that steam into what they call a thumper keg,
Mhm.
or bottle, can be a plastic bottle, and it allows the heavy material that might still be in the steam to drop out.
Right.
And so, and then the steam goes on until it goes through a coil of tubing, copper tubing, that is in a water container in order to cool it. And it comes out, the copper tubing, as water. Or in the case of alcohol, it comes out as alcohol. So
So
all the water drops out in the thumper cake.
as far as, I guess I need to rephrase. What what is the beneficial difference between the three waters being structured, distilled, and
Distilled,
hydrogen as it
distilled water contains no physical material. And if
right?
you're in an area where you have a lot of lead or arsenic, or you have other physical stuff in the water, uh, it is a way to remove the physical. However, at your cellular level, your cells can only receive energy. They cannot receive anything physical or anything electrical. So you have to think about that one. And I'll get to the reason that you don't want to just drink. Well, it depends on what the source of the water is again. Anyway, uh, uh, hydrogen water is generally, to remove hydrogen from water itself, you have to ionize it. So you ionize it to create more hydrogen, and that hydrogen then is evidently, uh, as a liquid, is tapped off. But the thing about it is, if you truly look at hydrogen, and if you were to ever stop hydrogen, it's no longer hydrogen.
Mhm.
Hydrogen is the fastest moving element ever. It's the number one element, and it is in all things. And anybody looking at hydrogen, or not so much the medical profession, because I don't think they even know. But if you get too much hydrogen in your body, your body goes out of balance,
Mhm.
and it's extremely harmful to have too much hydrogen.
The
But
pH level.
the advertisement doesn't tell you that.
Right.
The pH level. You get a high pH, it affects your blood sugar. It affects everything in your body. If you get too low of a pH, it affects everything in your body. I've had people come at me that are drinking hydrogen every day, multiply,
Mhm.
and they have over eight problems that they never had before, and
Right.
they're very distinctive uh, conditions of their body. I have them go off of that hydrogen entirely and just drink structured water, and within a week they're back to normal.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's hydrogen. It's not a good idea to take hydrogen straight, though hydrogen can be very effective if you have cancer, especially if you have tumors.
Right.
Hydrogen is attracted to carbon, and a tumor is carbon. And what it'll do to a tumor is basically dissolve them,
Mhm.
but only if you have cancer with tumors,
Right.
not if you're healthy.
Yeah, I think it's said that tumors, cancers cannot exist in an oxygenated and balanced between the alkaline and acidic. Like they have to have acidic
Right.
and low oxygen to even exist. Whereas structured water gives you that balance.
Yes, the other thing about hydrogen is if you get too much hydrogen and you're taking it in, the big thing that you're offsetting is your ability to digest food. At your gut, the pH has to be 6.4 on the dot. Anything more, anything less affects your digestion ability.
Mhm.
Look at how many people are obese today. Anyway, so you go back to structured water. Structured water puts everything into balance. It gives you an increased level of oxygen. And that oxygen going into every cell of your body relieves the cells of the things that do not serve. Cellular memory, one. Uh, uh, any heavy metals, all gets pushed out by having more oxygen in your system. The increase in oxygen in drinking structured water is about 25%.
Mhm.
It's like being on a ventilator or an
Right.
oxygen source of sorts.
Mhm.
If you breathe structured air, it increases your oxygen in the 25%.
Mhm.
So if you ever heard of there is a device that medical that they will subscribe going into a chamber and what is that? It's anyway, it creates a significant oxygen input into your body to alleviate certain functions in certain um, adversarial conditions.
Right. I think it's barometric
Yeah,
or something.
it looks like a submarine
Mhm.
on in a room. So
Mhm.
yeah. Anyway, but that's kind of the difference. What structured water does. Structured water allows your body to have instantaneous hydration. So if you're taking a bath or taking a shower, if you take a shower in regular water, the water runs off. it cannot enter into your cellular level. It just can't, because again, the tap water, the water you're showering in, is of such a high and let's say contaminated, not contaminated so much. It might not be contaminated, but it doesn't have the viscosity to be able to enter into the cell wall, through the cell wall. That's your skin. So I have people, 85-year-old men, women, buying a structured water unit, and I tell them, if they've never had structured water before, a really good thing to do is to get into a bath. Run a bath water and let the water run through a structured unit, or just dip it into the structured unit, let it run through one time, and then run that bath. Don't add anything to it, and just sit in the water. Water's mandate is to bring in the nutrients and take out the garbage. And if you sit in that water for 15 minutes, the water will start turning gray. It's turning gray because what structured water brings in the nutrients, and those nutrients are carried on the outside of the water molecule. It brings them in, and it goes through the skin. And as it's going through the skin cells, it's going into the cell and depositing its cargo, which is anything that's good in the water. And my technology is carrying all the minerals, elements, vitamins, all the nutrients essential for life in frequency form. So those water molecules in the bathtub, they contain, each water molecule can carry 440,000 ions. Those are bits of frequency of all the food and minerals and elements and vitamins and that are essential for life.
And that's a big one too, because we've all been hearing this for a long time, especially with like minerals or herbs that we take. And I've often heard black pepper is the thing to take to help assist with absorption of what we're getting. But more oftentimes than not, most people aren't even aware that they're not even absorbing what they're taking. And what they may be thinking they're taking is a chemical form of what naturally exists already. But with the water, there's structured water that completely changes that. Now, what effects would that have? I would see, especially now. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. We know our templating is changing. We know the energies are changing. Things are going the way they are. Whether we recognize them or not doesn't matter. It's happening. It would be assumingly safe to state that this would have to have some kind of impact on your DNA. It absolutely would have to.
Yes, it does. Let me finish with this though. So water being structured is carrying 440,000 ions, each water molecule. And structured, the water molecule come into clusters of 6 water molecules in a cluster. It's called hexagonal water, perfect water. So when it comes in through your skin, the skin accepts the water molecule, and basically the water molecule opens up into a train or the cluster of 6 water molecules. One water molecule at a time can enter into the cell. One molecule. And it enters through the cell into what is called the aquaporin channel of the cell. If you Google that, don't forget the I in porin. Otherwise, you will get porn.
Right.
Anyway, so aquaporin channel. Aquaporin. And the cargo gets deposited in the ion channel.
Mhm.
So the water passes through the cell and gets to the other side. It picks up all the unused cargo, but it also picks up the garbage from within the cell. And that goes to the inside of the water molecule.
Mhm.
That garbage and the water molecule collecting all the garbage from all the skin cells and all the muscle cells and all the exterior aspects of your body that are in the water. And it's sufficient that when that water molecule gets filled up with garbage, it goes out the elimination system, which is the skin at that place, that position.
Mhm.
And that's what turns the water gray. I've had
You won't
people,
want to test this now. I'll be like, all right. Absolutely.
they replaced their water 4 times before it did not turn gray. That means that all their cells have been cleansed of heavy metals, of all the stuff that's built up over the years since they were born, in a sense.
Right. Now, effectively, that's pretty much the same thing that happens with rainwater, isn't
Yes, rainwater is structured.
it? As far as like the carbon that's in the air and other pollutants.
However, rainwater today has to come down through about at least 1 ton of carbon hanging over your head,
Mhm.
and it's taking it in.
Mhm.
That's where a good deal of our health problems are going to come from in the future, and that is that all that carbon in the atmosphere, as it rains, it's going to bring it down into the water mains of the world, the ocean. Fish can't live in acid, neither can humans. So you have into the ocean, the lakes, the rivers. There are places in the ocean you can't go in the water,
Yeah.
where people used to go into the water on vacation. They cannot enter the water anymore. So what those countries are doing is building inland pools of water that are just before the beach of the ocean
Mhm.
for the tourists.
And this is where we can really take it in the direction of showing the effect on the planet of structured water. Whereas, say, what would happen to my neighborhood if I not only had a unit on my house, say I had one house unit, that's the water I'm drinking with, I'm showering with, all well and good. It's also the same unit goes to the outside spigot that I'm watering my plants with when I don't have rainwater. So at that point, I'm watering all my garden stuff with structured water.
Yes.
Now, what would the effects be of that on, say, my yard, my neighbors? How would that change plant life?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's going to change. Your yard is going to be greener. All the plant life is going to be greener. Uh, your neighbors are going to be happier and healthier and more friendly, because the big thing it does is it creates an atmosphere of of um, of basically everybody being more family oriented,
Hmm.
and it's going to go out a long distance. It's going to change your neighborhood. And I recommend to people who are first into this that this is a time to start a journal, to take
Hmm.
pictures, to write down where you are now. Because when you engage in structured water, your whole world is going to change.
Mhm.
The people around you are going to change. And kind of an interesting thing here in that change is those who don't want or who can't deal with it are going to run, because it gives you a benevolence. It gives you a feeling of health and well-being that you want to tell everybody. You want to be out there doing the things you used to do. Go dancing. I have elderly people saying they used to run 5 miles a day, and when their pain started, they stopped. And now at 78, they're out running again that 5 miles, or they're going dancing regularly. All the things they used to do, and that used to do comes within a week. Impossible.
Yeah.
If you try to explain this to a medical professional, it is impossible.
We don't have a pill for that. I'm sorry.
Right? It's impossible, and if you believe it, and they're going to say this, it's a hoax. It's not possible.
That's what's so beautiful about it. It's so foundational to all of our existence, and so obvious, and yet so severely hidden, not discussed. Which this is why we're having this meeting right now. While other things are going on, we're being bombarded with it, 24/7. We're here having a meeting on water and resonating with this. What further can we do with this, and the implications of what, not only what it does for our health, but everything, all life. This is the whole ecosystem this will affect, every single aspect. What would you say would be a safe estimate on water consumption of, say, a field for farmers, or the average person having a garden? How would that affect that water consumption?
30 to 40% reduction.
30 or 40% reduction. Okay, so that's plants showing us, take what you need, leave the rest.
Say this, so if you don't reduce the water you usually use, you'll be standing in mud, because the plants will not take any more than what they need.
Now, if that's not natural law, I don't know what is.
That is natural law.
And I just really wanted to help people get aware of what this is. Not so much the tech. The tech is very useful as the tool that it is. Let's keep in mind these are things that help us in the restoration of what we're doing. The main thing here is the education and helping people to remember this is natural law. We used to have these abilities. We are the tech. This helps us improve in the transition. And it not only helps us, it helps every form of life on this planet. That's it. To me, it's very, very simple. If it works, it works. It doesn't.
And again, if you start a journal,
Yeah.
and staying where you are, part of that where you are right now is what you can see, and what you can see through the third eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your because all the things that have been keeping you from the true view and vision has to do primarily with calcium buildup. And what this does is dissolves that calcium. It dissolves the calcium that is not functional.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the calcium in your body is functional. but there are places in your body where it's not. And this has the inherent uh, uh, directive to dissolve it. Again, it's like it's part of your consciousness, knowing what to do and what not to do.
That's something.
The truth of nature in action.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely something we can be grateful for. And as more and more of that comes online for us, it's very profound. And we're
And the
just getting a little sample of what we know we can actually do. We're just now being able to, we can call it divine timing, start coming forward with this stuff and start participating. This isn't an observe and sit back and let other people do it. We're the ones doing it. And it's not necessarily for us. There's the benevolence. It's for our kids coming through with these higher templates, that are already activated, you know. So we don't dumb them down because they have a lot to teach us. They haven't been through the experiences, but I see that as a lot of our purpose here. And this is helping people remember. And if they don't remember it, they're at least open to it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. So it's very much a kind of a pat on the back to everybody here, everybody listening, everybody that watches this, that you taking right action and participating in raising awareness for everybody. And what better place to start?
As you're doing that, as you're doing this, I want you to add an intention to it, because that intention will be profoundly more powerful along with your water.
I'm looking forward to seeing not only what it does to the river system by me, but my neighbors' yards, all the squirrels that I feed. You know what I mean? This is the fun part, of interacting with all of this participation. This is the fun part. We start seeing the changes. We recognize it. And it's like, okay, let's just go along with it. I think we're at a point now. We can go ahead and open up for some questions. So whoever's got a question, if you want to raise your hand and ask, then I'll just have you unmute, and we'll just go in order of list of participants that's here. Now is the time. So if you got questions, let's get to asking. Okay, so we got, let's see here. Okay, let's go with Doc time. If you want to unmute.
Howdy. Thanks for the talk, Clayton. I've had one of these for about a dozen years now. And in the short time I was without it, I could feel a difference in the energy level of my system. So that didn't take me long to get it replaced. Good work. A lot of work has been done by Jerry Pollock in the area of structured water, also from the University of Washington, now retired. But I was wondering, from your talk, what are the effects of Kangen water, the stuff that is higher pH, sort of like pH 9.5 or 10, that they suggest you drink to balance your stomach acids? Know anything much about it?
You make me laugh. You if you drink high pH water, anything over 7.5, you're adversely affecting your physiology, and especially your stomach, your ability to digest food. Your digestion has to be at 6.4. 1 point over or 1 point under will adversely affect your ability to digest food. Don't do it. Don't drink. A bottling company that would be selling high pH water, they would have on their label, they would say, do not drink this water as a sole source of hydration. Why? Because it's harmful to you if you're healthy. Do not do it. 1 or 2 times a day at the most. And people are slamming it down.
Right.
And they're ending up with a huge number of deficiencies and or problems, and they can't even see it because somebody said this is good for you and they believe it. It's really time for everybody out there to ask, is this beneficial for me?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
90% of what you're consuming may not be. It's time to start looking for what is beneficial. And I want to show you, this is my new unit. Funnel outlet. This is it. And that unit, it works. And the people that have them wouldn't be without them. But I'll guarantee you this works better. Because that technology I developed 20 years ago. This technology I developed 4 years ago. And it took 4 years to get it into production.
Right.
That's where we are today. It takes time to do something of value and a lot of money. So enjoy the journey. And thank you for your report.
Something with that, I just noticed today. For those that are aware of Schumann resonance, where they say the average, what they consider the heartbeat of Earth, and it used to be 7.53. It's no longer that. It's well above that. What I find interesting and in tuned is it seems like our level, our pH level, exactly matches that of the planet. That's a little tidbit for everybody to chew on. All right, next we got Brett White. Go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Mr. Nolte. I have not talked to you for 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, you were on a show a number of years ago with someone by the name of Dr. WC, and that's when I bought my first units.
Yeah.
So I got a shower unit and a handheld came with it as a gift. And truly, the person who actually, I was drinking water then, but the person who truly loved the water was my dog. She was quite happy with it. So it was time. I've been saving up and was about to buy a whole house unit. And, between the cost for the unit and the cost of the plumber, it was going to cost me around $2,000. So would it be installed the same way as the old unit into my water line?
Yes. Yes, it would.
Okay, good.
And
Because I can be a witness to um, how well it works, especially for things like watering plants. The squirrels in the neighborhood ate my watermelon. They really loved it. Um, that I had watered with structured water. And I also find that your grass is greener and that your windows stay cleaner also, which is kind of nice.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to now when I order it, how long will it take to get it? Because I really am looking, this is going to be my Mother's Day present to myself.
You see my website, you order it. If you order it today, it'll be in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, I love you. Okay, that's wonderful. Guys,
And
do invest. Do
and
invest.
it
Yeah.
won't cost $2,000 to install it.
Oh, well, the plumber was going to cost, it was going to charge me around 400 based upon, the hourly rate and stuff like that. So between the two of them, it was going to be close to 2 grand. But it's truly worth it. I'm a witness. If this is better than the original one I had, I'm looking forward to it.
And
Thank you.
significantly better. Yes,
Good. Thanks so much.
thank you.
Can you touch on what makes this better as far as you did briefly, but can you reintegrate on that?
Yeah, what makes it better is the fact of structuring is changing the viscosity of the water. That's allowing the water to enter through the cell wall. That's a given. That is the big roadblock to creating structuring at all. It's a mathematical journey to get to that point. And that journey back 20 years ago is where I was at that time. This new technology is where I was 4 years ago and still am, because this is a significant, impactful difference. You go back to that strawberry field, the field effect of that unit at that time was 1,000 feet. 1,000. You can walk that distance. 1,000 feet. And the strawberries at 1,000 feet continued to produce and bloom, even though they were no longer being watered or fed. That is one of the inherent energy of structuring. It's called biophoton energy. Field effect, 1,000 feet. And at that 1,000 foot level, in the fourth video, it shows the whitefly cloud at 1,000 feet. A cloud of whiteflies, which would normally lay their eggs, bite into, harm strawberries, and no longer do so because of the food value. Those strawberries at that 1,000 foot and all the way back to the source of water, which was not there anymore, those strawberries continued to produce even though they weren't being picked. So they had strawberries at 2,000 feet all the way around that were candied on the plant because nobody was picking them. So let's go back to where we are right now. As far as the difference, this new unit, and even if when she gets a house unit, that 1,000 feet now is more like miles. I don't know how far people will realize the effect, but a house unit will go out 730 miles, or 720 miles, sorry. But
oh, come on, not that extra.
where will the effect be?
Right. Let alone,
will you see
yeah,
trees changing at 700 miles? Or will it be 50 miles? I'm telling you what the biophoton range of this is. The field effect, which is measurable, by the way. It's just a matter of getting the equipment out there to measure it.
Right. Well, a lot of it too is They'll do it by sight. As it is in us, you'll notice it in your state of being, but as it refers to plants and wildlife, you're gonna see it,
right?
and it's gonna be very, very quick.
And even if you don't, they're going to feel it, which is more important.
Yeah,
Feel it. The ecology is going to feel it. I mean, everything is going to change. The water is going to change. The growth is going to change. The animals are going to change. And I've had people say to me when they put structured water in their home, I've had women tell me that the bird song changes. So
that's interesting. I believe it. That makes it makes sense.
and remember, women feel, men don't. So
We do somewhat. Right now, I'm feeling